All right, so we talked about it a bit this morning. We read the report, but now we're going to hear from the man himself. When the horse is done, so to speak. Sorry, Charles. So Charles has been a blogger for a number of years now in Ferguson. He's operated a blog, and now it has over 2 million hits. So this isn't a small thing. A lot of people read this blog, a lot of people check it out. And it is part of the media. He is quite often recognized as part of the media, at media scrums, and so on and so forth. So when I say blogger, I'm also saying journalist in a sense. So I don't know how much more to say, but I think I'll just turn it over to Charles, who can do a much better job on explaining.
The moment of truth has arrived. I would love to thank, I will let you say merci beaucoup to Nicole to have the opportunity to talk to 50 future crooks. I mean, sorry. I apologize. 50 future politicians. 50 future lawyers. There. Yeah, I know I should have took my Ritalin before I came here. Anyway, I have half an hour. I have ADHD. I was diagnosed with that about 15 years ago. You all have laptops. You could mark whatever I say, mark it down, Google it. I'll say go to my old blog, but I can't because the city of Fredericton had to shut down about a month ago. So we'll get to that later. But we'll try to give you an introduction about myself, and we'll just take it from there. Half an hour, right? Yep. I try to debate for an hour, but anyway, we'll try. Okay, I was born in Mermoncote, and it's a small town outside of Lupton. And, you know, I knew there was something wrong with me, that just to stay there like you guys in the classroom and listen, that's not myself, because I was always going. It was sort of known as the town fool. But as Charles LeBlanc, my mother is from Glasgow, Scotland. She came from Glasgow, she was 16 years old, and landed in Mermoncote and married my father, that's a pure Acadian. So I'm half pure Scottish, and I'm half pure Acadian. I wouldn't wish this gene on my worst enemy. If you've seen the movie Braveheart, have you seen it? Mm-hmm. It's all true. We're not scared or nothing. Hey, I'm not bad. I came up with that. It's not even Mark. Okay. Anyway, so we turn around, and people with ADHD, they speak before thinking. They always speak before thinking. They can come up with the stupidest thing. And you say, what the hell did I say that? And I'm sure I will say that after I'm done with this lecture, which I haven't done in a couple of years. But you're known, I asked my father, even told my father, I like to be a journalist. You're too stupid to be a journalist. You're too stupid. I hear the word stupid all the time. And thank God I had the size to fight back. And then I started writing letters to the editor, the U.N.B paper. And then people look at that, well, look what Charles wrote. Now, Charles is crazy. Look, it makes sense. So the letters to the editor made me feel like somebody. I'm not stupid. I just have ADHD, and I got a big mouth, and I'm in the right place. Look, 50 people are listening to me. So I wrote 500 letters to the newspaper. And so I end up, my uncle and aunt, Al LeBlanc and Teresa, they're the parents that I never had. And he got me a life. I worked at a shipyard in St. John for 15 years. I was writing letters, and I mean, everybody wanted to know who this Charles LeBlanc was. Even the Irvings were afraid. I remember when I met Arthur Irving and Jake, oh, you're the guy. You're the guy. And I was writing letters against them, and I was working for Irving, but I belonged to a union. So anyway, thank God for that. I try to be a good rat, a good suckhole, and a good whatever, but I'm not good at it. So I speak my mind, and that's why people like us don't work. So, so next thing you know, I found out my uncle approached me and said, Charles, you got a mental disorder and you don't even know it. I said, really? You found out what's wrong with me after all these years? What do I have? ADHD, ADD. So what the hell is that? It's, give me a book, you mean I'm not crazy, stupid, or lazy. And I read it, and the brain is a fantastic tool. It has millions and millions of brain cells. And they open those brain cells and they say, hey, I have ADD. So we seen a neurologist, and my uncle says, they were there, and then he asked me a question about violence. And I told my uncle, I said, my uncle's upset. So he said, has Charlie been in trouble with the law for assault and stuff like that? He said, I know of 3 people that Charlie almost killed. That I know of, because he's from St. John, I was a fighter. So he said, you don't have ADD, you have ADHD. Oh, okay, great. It was just like a million ton of steel that let go off my shoulder. I have ADHD. So the Irving media put my picture on the front page, the Telegraph Journal, Irving St. John paper, I call it, and said, Charles LeBlanc deals with ADHD. Next thing you know, I received about 50 phone calls. I've got like a half an hour there. I'm going like overboard. I had 50 phone calls on the phone of kids, of parents crying on the phone how their kids are treated in the school system. So they turn around and they receive these phone calls. I see Bernard Lord, remember him? You know, Bernard Lord used to be the former premier of this province. And when he was running for premier, I told him, we got a problem with Ridley. Oh, I got so many phone calls. Once I'm in power, we will study the issue. Okay, no problem. I'll talk to you after the election. I showed up, and then I seen him, got premier, Bernard Ridley. Oh, Charles, I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, so I showed up in a tent in front of the legislature, in front of it. So the media, and the government looks at the media. The guy is an idiot. Just ignore him. It will go away. They forgot about the half Scottish part. So December was cold. I was still there. Say he's going to die there. But I had people. The support was in front of me. And I collected 10,000 signatures. And then I turned around. They allowed me inside the ledge. I wasn't allowed when I was inside on the front step. And on the front of the ledge. And they give them a petition, 10,000 signatures. Both parties gave me a standing ovation. They were so happy that I was leaving. They had to listen to me for 6 months. So I was a neighbor, so then I left. But unfortunately, I'm a Frenchman, so when I live in a tent for 6 months, something's going to happen. So what happened is I met a girl here, and then I had to tell the girl in St. John bye-bye, and I loved further. So when I came back 11 days later, they said, he's back. So I started to go around, and I was writing updates, sending emails to everybody, bureaucrats, politicians, of my opinion. So somebody approached me and said, do you want to be a blogger? Blogger. What's that? So he explained to me, I said, man, I like to have these emails sent me. It was so bad, my emails. The government had to block oldmazon@yahoo.com. The bureaucrat said, I'm not receiving your updates anymore. Then I checked their phone, their email, then I said, oh my God, they blocked me. So the media said, well, no problem, just change email. That's not even there. You see how big this, I'm going to do this half an hour.
Yep, sorry, Charles.
Oh, no. So anyway, turn around. They unblocked. I said, I want my email, oldmazon@yahoo unblocked. And sure, then the media called. Then they changed it. They changed their mind. I could be free of me to send an email to any politician that I wanted. So go into the blogging. What happened if you read an email and you delete it? It's over. It's over. Blogging, you blog. If I blog a politician, a councillor, won't mention no names, in the city of Fredericton, once you Google his name, the name will come out on my blog. And that was a good way to spread the message. So I started blogging. I said, sure, no problem. So what happened? Then there was I started blogging. Then the media looked at me. Then I had this, there was no video, just writing and taking pictures. So in 2006, in the early summer, there was a protest called Immigrant Without Borders. I got the first time that I started. Immigrant Without Borders. They went around walking, then they were stopped by the police. And I remember there was somebody that was taking pictures. And the police looked at him and said, are you a journalist? I was surprised. You know, like you have, he's just a guy taking pictures. So next thing you know, the police arrived from City Hall, and they put the immigrants, the protesters on the ground. And a friend of mine took a picture and put it on my blog. CTV grabbed a hold of that. ATV was the news of the day. And Varnica, I forgot her name. Anyway, She put it was a headline news, racism charge against the Fredericton police force. So, next thing you know, here I am the week after, I'm going to Atlantica. Oh, he's going to Atlantica, huh? Okay, St. John. So that was a nerve conference. I showed up there. Next thing you know, it's about 30, 40 people with masks. We're not going to mention no names. But anyway, with masks, and just start running toward the conference. Me, I said, oh my God, this is great. Take my camera. And next thing you know, I was pushed. And I look at the guy, I said, what are you doing? The cop. I said, I'm an independent journalist. I had no time to explain what was a blogger. I didn't even have the blogger jacket on. So you're under arrest. Under arrest for what? For obstruction. I said, obstruction of what? So next thing you know, they dragged me on the floor 50 feet, put me on the ground, just choked me, I couldn't breathe, took my camera away, gave me a black eye, put me in jail for about 4 hours. Once I showed up, then they give me my camera, and I look at all my pictures, they're all gone. The St. John Police, I should say Fredericton Police Force, the St. John Police Force deleted all my pictures. And the evidence was gone. So I knew, deep inside, the Fredericton Police Force called the St. John Police Force, going to Atlanta, get him! So the payback is, you know what? So anyway, at the end, I showed up in court. The judge, what's his name? Was so many things that happened.
Julian Dixon.
Was that?
I believe it was Julian Dixon.
No, it was William McCarroll. Like telling a future lawyer that he's wrong. I wrote this.
Oh no, Dixon was the other time you were in court. You were in court too many times.
One other time?
Okay. Anyway, 20 minutes. So anyway, at the end, legal aid, I arrived there. Your Honor, the Judge McCarroll told me. He says, how do you plead? I said, Your Honor, I don't understand why I'm here. Did somebody talk to you? No. Duty counsel talk to you? No. So, well, we're going to have a recess. This old lawyer, female, told me, sit down in a room. I said, what? This is the charge. Obstruction. Blah, 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 blah. And you don't have the right to a lawyer. It's a summary conviction. You are not going to go to jail. You have no right to a lawyer. And I said, excuse me? So the bottom line is, what, can you represent yourself? I don't know nothing about the law. Can you afford a lawyer? I'm on social assistance. Not proud of it, but that's the way it is. So next thing you know, I'm in court. Next thing you know, the Judge McCarroll said, how long is this going to take? The prosecutor, she was cleaning her nails, half an hour. No, she said half a day, Your Honor. I stood up, half a day. This is going to take at least a week. Everybody look at me, a week for this. So next thing you know, I can't go into details. I arrived in Fredericton. Harold Doherty, you know him, he's a lawyer. He's if you write Harold Doherty, Google. He's an activist, he has a severe son, autistic. And he approached me, big guy. He said, Charles, what's going on in St. John? I said, oh, never mind that. They told me I had no right to a lawyer. I fought with the legal aid, with David Porter, was his name. Bernard Richard, the ombudsman of the day, even sent a letter saying, I need help. I need help in more ways than one, but this time I need help for a lawyer. So at the end, I told Harold, and Harold said, what did they say in their disclosure? No, then I told him, I said, when I'm done with them in the courtroom, the judge is going to say, Mr. LeBlanc, you've been watching too many Mad Dogs. So he said, Charles, what did they say in their disclosure? Disclosure? What's that? So he quickly realized I didn't even know what was going on. So he said, Charles, let me represent you. I said, listen, Harold, I'm broke. He said, no, you help us through your blog with autistic issues. But it's our turn to help you. He arrived there, if there was a trial, he made them look like monkeys. Because what's happening, the workplace and the court is like any workplace. Everybody knows each other's style. The cops, the lawyers, the prosecutor, then they socialize, they romance, never mind that. But anyway, they turned around. They didn't know this guy. This tall, this big. And at the end, I was acquitted. The funny part about it, there was nothing in the Irving paper. Once the Irving paper seen that the cops were lying on the stand, they left. And then if it would have been found guilty, would have been right on the front page. Idiot blogger found guilty. But nothing there. If you Google New York Times and Charles LeBlanc, I seen a reporter said, oh, my story's not important enough to be in the paper. It's going to be in the paper tomorrow morning. I said, really? I'm going to make the evil Irving newspaper? And then he says, yeah. I said, is it because my story was in the New York Times? this morning that it has to be in the urban paper the next day. And sure enough, it was in the New York Times. But anyway, I was acquitted, and people were just saying, is he a court-appointed journalist? So, okay, oh my God, I'm sorry. So then I got here, the legislator, and then I was banned for life from the ledge. I said, what am I banned for? You harass people. Who did I harass? They said, we don't have to tell you. I said, once you start convicting people without providing the evidence, isn't that fascism? They said, we don't care, you're banned for life. At the end, I was banned because of a murder-suicide. Val Cool, she was a member of the Liberal Party, but I can't get into that. It's the same thing as what I just said with St. John. So then, after that, then in April 23rd, 2009, I was arrested at the Ledge for covering a protest to save the Matapwag Park. So I showed up, next thing you know, Andrew McDonald, a cop from the Fredericton Police Force. What's happening is the Fredericton Police Force worked for Dan Bichat. Dan Bichat is the sergeant at arms at the Ledge. He's a former RCMP officer. He's even the cop that got Hatfield with marijuana. So he's very, you know. So then at the end, this guy, he realized the cops will do anything for him for money. The cops were overtime. They paid money at the Ledge. They follow his every orders. So at the end, they arrested me. I showed up at the police station. Make a long story short, they said, okay, Lafleur is his name. Okay, Charles, here's those papers, sign this. You'll be out of here in 5 minutes. Okay? Oh, there's conditions. What's the conditions? You don't have the right to talk to one MLA pending your trial. Excuse me, I know some of my best friends, like Charles LeBlanc and all that, are MLAs. He said, if you don't sign that, you're going to go to jail. I said, you know what? I hear some sad stories about the prison in St. John in Black River Road. What better way to find out what's going on than being inside? Arrest me. So that was the end of that. This guy showed up with a big book, law school, and they said, oh, get out of here. I said, oh, what about those conditions? Get out of here. So they thought I was going to say, okay, no problem. I know, we'll get to that later. And then in July, what happened that the cop on July 6, 2009, the guy that arrested me was suddenly fired, Andrew McDonald. He even told me, he stopped me in the street, and he said, you have ruined my life. But he was offered an early retirement package. So he was very upset. I said, hey, you should have left me alone. So now in that, when he was let go on April 23rd, I'm not going to do this. Anyway, on April 23rd, 2009, on July 6th, 2009, 2 or 3 months later, this is where everything changed. The charges were dropped on July 6th, in 2009. They were dropped against me, and the cop, Andrew McDonald, was fired. So I was arrested at the legislature, but the charges were dropped. Sorry I can't get into detail. 2 weeks later, this is where the problem started. I filmed a soldier that was being beat up by the cops in front of the IBOC. I just happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. I was across, you see something going on. I took my camera, I started filming, and on Monday, I didn't know really what I had. Sort of like, didn't pay attention. The next Monday, CBC came out with this soldier, black eye and everything. Then I called Jacques Portois. I said, you better come here. I got something here. He said, oh my God, there's the evidence. So what happened? After that, the police, after the video came out, and till the Stafford was acquitted in 2 years later, a year and a half later, the cops were so nice to me. It was sickening. They would see me on the street. Hi, Charles. I mean, I said, they're going to make me look like a rat. So they even acknowledged me as media. They announced a news conference. They invite me. Come for coffee, Charles. They were very nice. They were, buddies. So then, next thing you know, he was acquitted Stanford was acquitted, I got it wrong here, on June 6th. See, that's why you gotta reread what you write, the ADHD stuff. Then when he was acquitted, two weeks later, Fred Loiseau, a cop, from the police force, Quebecois, I'll keep my opinion to myself, read my blog. Oh, sorry, I have a blog anymore. Loiseau called me over and said, oh, Charles, come here. There was 4 police cruisers by King's place. I said, what's this? I was media. I was announced in media. So somebody died. Oh, I want to give you a ticket. What? You ride a bicycle on the sidewalk and no helmet. I took my camera. What did you say? I said, you want the service of Français or English? And I told him, Chiac. Yeah, I'm talking about the Chiac. Anyway, that didn't go too well. But again, I got mad. I can't go into detail. I got the ticket on June 23rd. On July 9th, there I was, 11 o'clock at night, walking the street. Anyhow, I was walking the street, and the cop stopped and said, here's the ticket. What's this? You were seen riding your bicycle on the sidewalk 8 days ago. Here's the ticket. I was seen. By who? Then at the end, I found out it was Dan Bissière. And he said, here's a ticket.